Anya hummed a happy tune, a melody as bright and colorful as the canvases stacked neatly in her small studio apartment. Tomorrow was the day. After years of dreaming, sketching, and painting until her fingers ached, her first gallery show was finally here. Colors of the City, she had titled it, a vibrant collection of scenes inspired by the bustling streets and hidden corners of her beloved home. Each painting held a piece of her heart. There was the fiery sunset over the Brooklyn Bridge, captured in swirling oranges and reds. Another showed children playing in a spray of water from an open fire hydrant, their joyous laughter almost audible from the canvas. A third depicted a lone musician serenading passers-by in a dimly lit subway station, his music weaving its way through the city's concrete veins. Anya carefully adjusted the small spotlights she had rigged up to illuminate the paintings. She stepped back, her eyes sparkling with pride. This wasn't just about showing off her artwork, it was about sharing her vision, her love for the city, with the world. She wanted people to feel the energy, the rhythm, the hidden beauty that she saw every day. The gallery, owned by the kindly Mr. Davis, was located in a trendy neighborhood known for its art scene. Mr. Davis had been incredibly supportive, offering her this opportunity after seeing her work at a local art fair. He believed in her talent, and that belief had given Anya the confidence to pursue her dream. She imagined the gallery filled with people, their faces illuminated by the colorful paintings. She pictured them discussing the art, sharing their interpretations, and maybe even finding a piece that resonated with them enough to take home. It was a dream come true, a moment she had been working towards for so long. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across her studio, Anya packed up her brushes and paints. A final check revealed that all her paintings were ready to go. She double-checked her email for Mr. Davis's confirmation of tomorrow's delivery time. Everything was perfect. She could practically taste the sweet anticipation of the opening night. With a contented sigh, Anya turned off the lights, a hopeful smile gracing her lips. Little did she know, as she drifted off to sleep, that her dream was about to be shattered, her vibrant world about to be painted with a stroke of unexpected darkness. Anya's art wasn't just paint on canvas, it was a window into her soul. She saw the world in a unique way, a kaleidoscope of colors and emotions that she translated into her vibrant paintings. Her style was bold and expressive, a mix of impressionism and abstract art, with a touch of realism that grounded her work in the everyday. Her paintings weren't perfect copies of reality, instead, they were interpretations, filtered through her own experiences and feelings. When she painted the city, she wasn't just painting buildings and streets, she was painting the energy, the movement, the pulse of urban life. Take, for instance, Sunrise on Fifth Avenue. It wasn't just a depiction of the famous street bathed in the morning light. It was a symphony of pastel colors, capturing the quiet anticipation of a city waking up. The soft pinks and purples of the sky reflected on the glass skyscrapers, creating a sense of ethereal beauty. Little details, like the lone taxi cab speeding down the avenue and the early morning joggers, added a touch of realism to the dreamy scene. Then there was Rainy Day Reflections, a more somber but equally captivating piece. The painting depicted a rain-soaked street scene, with reflections of neon signs shimmering on the wet pavement. Anya had used a palette of cool blues and grays to convey the melancholy mood of a rainy day, but she had also added pops of vibrant color, a bright yellow umbrella, a red taillight, to suggest that even in the gloom, there was still beauty to be found. One of Anya's most personal paintings was Grandma's Garden, a tribute to her beloved grandmother who had passed away a few years ago. The painting depicted her grandmother's small but vibrant garden, overflowing with colorful flowers. Anya had captured the warmth and love that she felt in that garden, using bright, cheerful colors and soft, flowing brushstrokes. It was a painting that made her feel close to her grandmother again. Another standout piece was Subway Serenade, the one featuring the musician. The painting was dark, but the musician was illuminated by a single light. The colors of the graffiti art surrounding the musician were vivid, capturing the vibrant street art scene. These were just a few examples of the paintings that would be featured in her gallery show. Each one told a story, each one captured a moment in time, each one reflected a piece of Anya's soul. They were more than just paintings, they were her heart laid bare on canvas. The next morning, Anya arrived at the gallery, her heart filled with anticipation. She had barely slept, her mind buzzing with excitement about the day ahead. She pictured Mr. Davis greeting her with a warm smile, the gallery staff bustling around, and the paintings being carefully arranged on the walls. But as she pushed open the gallery doors, the scene that greeted her was far from the joyful image she had conjured. The air was thick with a sense of chaos and despair. Mr. Davis stood in the center of the room, his face pale and drawn, his usually impeccable suit rumpled and stained. "Anya," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Oh, Anya." Confused, Anya stepped further into the gallery, her eyes scanning the room. And then she saw it. Her paintings. They weren't hanging on the walls, bathed in the soft glow of the spotlights. Instead, they were strewn across the floor, ripped and slashed, their vibrant colors marred by long, jagged tears. The canvases were ripped, the frames splintered. Sunrise on Fifth Avenue, its peaceful pinks and purples now shredded. Rainy day reflections, its somber beauty brutally defaced. Grandma's garden, its loving tribute torn to pieces. Anya gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. A wave of nausea washed over her, and she stumbled backward, her legs suddenly weak. This couldn't be happening. This had to be a nightmare. She rushed to Subway Serenade, her fingers tracing the deep gashes that ran across the canvas, obliterating the musician's face. Tears welled up in her eyes, blurring her vision. It was as if someone had taken a knife to her soul, ripping apart the very essence of who she was. Who would do this? She stammered, her voice trembling. Mr. Davis shook his head, his eyes filled with a mixture of grief and anger. "I don't know, Anya. I just don't know. I arrived this morning to find it like this." The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by Anya's sobs. Her dream, her hard work, her heart, all of it, destroyed in a single, senseless act of violence. The vibrant colors of her world had been replaced by the stark, chilling reality of devastation. The gallery, once a beacon of hope and opportunity, now felt like a tomb, filled with the shattered remnants of her dreams. Anya sank into a nearby chair, the weight of the devastation pressing down on her. Mr. Davis knelt beside her, his hand resting gently on her arm. "We'll figure this out, Anya," he said softly. "We'll find out who did this." Anya looked up at him, her eyes filled with confusion and pain. "But why? Why would anyone do this?" Mr. Davis sighed. "I don't know, Anya. Sometimes people do terrible things out of jealousy, or anger, or just plain meanness. It doesn't make it right, but it happens." He paused, stroking his chin thoughtfully. "Do you have any enemies, Anya? Anyone who might want to hurt you?" Anya shook her head. I don't think so. I mean, I try to get along with everyone." She thought for a moment, her brow furrowed. "There was Clara, in art school." "Clara?" Mr. Davis prompted. "Yes," Anya replied, her voice hesitant. "Clara was competitive. She always felt like I was getting more attention from the teachers. We had a few arguments, but that was years ago. I can't imagine she would do something like this." Mr. Davis nodded slowly. "It's just a thought, Anya. We need to consider all possibilities." He stood up and walked over to his desk, picking up the phone. "I'm calling the police. They need to investigate this." As Mr. Davis spoke to the police, Anya wandered through the gallery, her heart aching with each step. She tried to make sense of the senseless act, but her mind kept drawing a blank. Who could hate her art so much? Who could be so cruel? Mr. Davis hung up the phone. "They're sending someone over right away. In the meantime, try to think of anything else that might be helpful, Anya. Any suspicious activity, any strange phone calls, anything at all? Anya nodded, her mind racing. She thought back to the past few weeks, trying to recall anything out of the ordinary. A strange phone call. A shadowy figure lurking outside her apartment. But nothing came to mind. It was as if the attack had come completely out of the blue, a bolt of lightning striking her peaceful world. The only thing she could think of was Clara and her past jealousy, but the idea seemed too far-fetched. Surely, Clara wouldn't hold a grudge for so many years, would she? But as she looked at the ruined canvases, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone she knew, someone she had crossed in the past, was responsible for this act of destruction. The mystery of who had done this was only just beginning. A pair of police officers arrived at the gallery, their expressions grim. Officer Miller, a tall, serious woman with a notepad in hand, began to question Anya and Mr. Davis, while her partner, Officer Jones, a younger man with a more empathetic demeanor, started to dust for fingerprints. "Can you tell us exactly what happened this morning?" Officer Miller asked, her voice businesslike. Mr. Davis recounted the events of the morning, explaining how he had arrived at the gallery to find the paintings slashed and torn. Anya, still shaken, could barely speak, but she managed to confirm Mr. Davis's account. Officer Miller turned to Anya. "Ms. Petrova, can you think of anyone who might have a motive to do this? Anyone who might be jealous of your success?" Anya hesitated, her mind flashing back to Clara. "There was someone in art school," she said softly. "Her name is Clara. She was always very competitive, and she didn't like that I was getting more attention from the teachers. Do you have any contact information for her?" Officer Miller asked, scribbling in her notepad. Anya shook her head. "Not anymore. It's been years since we spoke." Officer Jones, who had been dusting for fingerprints, approached Officer Miller. "We've got a few prints, but they're smudged. It's going to be difficult to get a clear match." Officer Miller sighed. "Okay. We'll take the paintings back to the station for further analysis. We'll also need to take your statements, Miss Petrova and Mr. Davis." As the officers gathered the damaged paintings, Anya felt a sense of helplessness wash over her. The police investigation had begun, but she couldn't shake the feeling that they were no closer to finding the culprit. The smudged fingerprints and the lack of clear evidence seemed to point to a carefully planned attack, one that would be difficult to solve. Officer Miller handed Anya a card. "If you remember anything else, anything at all, please don't hesitate to call us." Anya took the card, her fingers trembling. She watched as the officers carried the last of her damaged paintings out of the gallery, the vibrant colors now muted and distorted by the tears and slashes. The gallery felt empty and cold, a stark reminder of the dream that had been so brutally taken away from her. The police investigation was underway, but the road to finding the truth seemed long and uncertain. The following days were a blur of police interviews, insurance forms, and endless replays of the horrifying scene in her mind. The police, despite their best efforts, seemed to be hitting dead ends. The fingerprints were too smudged to be useful, and there were no witnesses to the crime. They had questioned a few of Anya's friends and acquaintances, but no one seemed to have any information that could help the investigation. Anya found herself constantly thinking about Clara. She tried to dismiss the idea that her former classmate could be responsible, but the thought kept nagging at her. She remembered their art school days, the constant competition, and Clara's barely concealed resentment of her talent. Flashback. Anya, then a young and eager art student, stood proudly beside her latest painting, a vibrant cityscape that had earned her rave reviews from the instructor. Clara stood nearby, her arms crossed, her expression tight. "It's good, Anya," Clara said, her voice flat. "But it's not original. It's just another pretty picture." Anya frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means you're good at copying what you see," Clara retorted. "But you don't have any real vision. You're just a technician." Anya's cheeks flushed with anger. "That's not true. I put my heart and soul into my paintings." "Oh, please," Clara scoffed. Don't pretend you're some kind of tortured artist. You've always had it easy. You're naturally talented, and everyone loves you. You don't know what it's like to struggle. Anya bit back a sharp reply. She knew that Clara was jealous, but she didn't want to stoop to her level. I'm sorry you feel that way, Clara, she said quietly. But that doesn't give you the right to put me down. Clara glared at her. Just wait, Anya, she hissed. Someday, you'll see. Talent isn't everything. You need more than that to make it in the art world. End flashback. Anya shook her head, trying to clear the memory. It had been years since that conversation, and she had hoped that Clara had moved on. But now, as she looked back, she realized that Clara's resentment had been deeper than she had thought. Could that resentment have festered over the years, eventually leading to this act of destruction? The police investigation seemed to be going nowhere, and Anya felt increasingly desperate. She knew that if she wanted to find the person responsible, she would have to take matters into her own hands. The focus shifted to Anya's past, the art school rivalries, and the seed of doubt that Clara might be involved. Clara's jealousy wasn't just a fleeting emotion, it was a deep-seated insecurity that manifested in subtle and not-so-subtle ways. Anya remembered countless instances where Clara would try to undermine her confidence, criticize her work, or spread rumors about her behind her back. There was the time when Anya won first place in a student art competition, and Clara told everyone that the judges were biased because Anya was prettier and more likable. Another time, Clara secretly sabotaged Anya's sculpture by loosening a key support, causing it to collapse during a critique. Anya recalled a specific incident vividly. It was during their final year, and they were both working on their thesis projects. Anya was creating a series of large-scale abstract paintings inspired by the city's architecture. Clara, on the other hand, was working on a series of hyperrealistic portraits. One day, Anya returned to her studio to find her canvases splattered with paint. The damage wasn't extensive, but it was enough to ruin the paintings. Anya was devastated, but she couldn't prove who had done it. However, she noticed that Clara was acting strangely, avoiding eye contact and seeming unusually smug. Later that week, Anya overheard Clara talking to another student. I heard Anya had a little accident in her studio, Clara said, giggling. Too bad. Those paintings were so colorful. Anya confronted Clara, but Clara denied everything. I don't know what you're talking about, Anya, she said innocently. Maybe you should be more careful with your precious paintings. These memories flooded Anya's mind, painting a clearer picture of Clara's character. It wasn't just a simple case of rivalry, it was a pattern of behavior, a consistent effort to tear Anya down and diminish her accomplishments. Even small things stood out in Anya's memory. Clara mimicking her style in small ways, only to loudly declare how Anya's art was derivative. Or Clara making pointed comments about Anya's supportive family, hinting that Anya's success was due to privilege rather than talent. Anya also remembered that Clara had always been fascinated by knives. She carried a small pocket knife with her everywhere, claiming it was for artistic purposes, but Anya had always found it unsettling. The more Anya thought about it, the more convinced she became that Clara was capable of slashing her paintings. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fit together, forming a disturbing picture of jealousy, resentment, and a long-held grudge. Clara's jealousy was not just a passing phase, it was a defining characteristic, a dark shadow that had followed Anya since art school. The thought that Clara could have carried this resentment for so long sent a chill down Anya's spine. The focus tightened on Clara as the prime suspect. Armed with her growing suspicion, Anya decided to revisit the gallery and speak to Mr. Davis. She needed to know if there was any chance that Clara could have gained access to the building. Mr. Davis, Anya said, her voice determined. I need to ask you something about the gallery's security. Mr. Davis looked up from his desk, his expression weary. Of course, Anya. Anything. Does the gallery have security cameras? Anya asked. Mr. Davis nodded. Yes, we have a system. It's not the most advanced, but it covers the main areas of the gallery. Why? Could we review the footage from the night the paintings were slashed? Anya pressed. I have a strong feeling that someone I know might be responsible, and I think the cameras might have captured something. Mr. Davis hesitated. The police already reviewed the footage, Anya. They didn't find anything of interest. But please, Mr. Davis, Anya pleaded. I need to see it for myself. It would give me peace of mind, one way or the other. Mr. Davis sighed. He could see the desperation in Anya's eyes, and he knew that she wouldn't rest until she had exhausted every possibility. All right, Anya, he said reluctantly. I'll pull up the footage. But don't get your hopes up too high. The police are the experts. Mr. Davis led Anya to a small office in the back of the gallery, where a monitor displayed the security camera footage. He fast-forwarded to the night of the vandalism, and they began to watch. The footage showed the gallery empty and still, the only movement coming from the shadows that danced across the walls. Hours passed, and nothing happened. Anya started to feel a flicker of doubt. Maybe she was wrong about Clara. Maybe she was just grasping at straws. But then, just as she was about to give up hope, a figure appeared on the screen. It was a woman, her face obscured by a hood, but her movements were familiar. Anya's heart pounded in her chest. The woman moved stealthily through the gallery, her eyes darting around as if she were afraid of being seen. She approached Anya's paintings, and then, she pulled out a long, slender object from her pocket. Anya gasped. It was a knife. The tension in the room was palpable as they watched the woman slash Anya's paintings, her movements quick and precise. The act was brutal and senseless, a violation of everything Anya held dear. Anya leaned closer to the monitor, her eyes fixed on the woman's face. Even though it was partially hidden, she recognized her. It was Clara. The security footage held the key, the visual confirmation of Anya's suspicions. The moment of truth was at hand. I knew it, Anya whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of anger and vindication. I knew it was her. Mr. Davis stared at the screen, his face etched with disbelief. Clara? But why? I don't understand. Anya shook her head, her mind racing. It's jealousy, Mr. Davis. It's always been jealousy. She's never been able to accept that I'm a better artist than her. We need to call the police, Mr. Davis said, his voice firm. This is solid evidence. They can arrest her now. Anya nodded, but a flicker of doubt crossed her face. Wait, she said. I want to talk to her first. I want to know why she did this. I need to hear it from her own mouth. Mr. Davis looked at her skeptically. Anya, that's not a good idea. She's clearly unstable. It could be dangerous. I know, Anya replied. But I need to do this. I need to confront her. I can't just let her get away with this without understanding why. After a moment of hesitation, Mr. Davis relented. All right, Anya, he said. But I'm going with you. I'm not letting you face her alone. Together, Anya and Mr. Davis left the gallery and headed to Clara's apartment. Anya had managed to find her address online, and she knew that Clara lived in a small, run-down building on the other side of town. As they approached the building, Anya's heart pounded in her chest. She felt a mixture of fear and anticipation. What would Clara say? Would she deny everything, even with the evidence stacked against her? Or would she finally confess to her crime? They arrived at Clara's apartment and Anya knocked on the door. A few moments later, the door creaked open, and Clara appeared, her eyes wide with surprise. Anya? Clara stammered. What are you doing here? Anya took a deep breath. We know it was you, Clara, she said, her voice steady. We saw the security footage. We know you slashed my paintings. Clara's face paled, and she stepped back, her eyes darting around nervously. I don't know what you're talking about, Anya, she said, her voice trembling. You're mistaken. Don't lie, Clara, Anya said, her voice rising. We saw you. We saw you with the knife. Why did you do it? Why did you try to destroy my dream? Clara's eyes filled with tears, and she finally broke down. Because I hate you, Anya, she sobbed. I've always hated you. You've always been so talented, so successful. Everyone always loved you. I just wanted to take it all away from you. Clara had been revealed, and the confession was at hand. The next step was to deal with the aftermath. Anya stared at Clara, her heart aching with a strange mixture of anger, sadness, and pity. She had never imagined that Clara's jealousy could have driven her to such an extreme act. How could you, Clara? Anya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. How could you destroy something that meant so much to me? Clara sobbed uncontrollably, her body shaking with remorse. I don't know, Anya, she said. I just couldn't stand seeing you succeed. It was like a constant reminder of my own failures. Mr. Davis stepped forward, his expression stern. This isn't just about jealousy, Clara, he said. This is a crime. You vandalized Anya's artwork, and you're going to have to face the consequences. Anya nodded, her mind racing. She knew that Clara needed to be held accountable for her actions, but she couldn't help feeling a sense of compassion for her former classmate. She had always seen Clara as a talented artist, but she had also recognized her deep-seated insecurities. I'm calling the police, Anya, Mr. Davis said, reaching for his phone. Anya hesitated. Wait, Mr. Davis, she said. Can I have a moment alone with Clara? Mr. Davis looked at her skeptically. Are you sure that's wise, Anya? She's just confessed to a crime. I know, Anya replied. But I need to say something to her. Please. Mr. Davis sighed, but he relented. All right, Anya, he said. But I'll be right outside the door. Don't hesitate to call if you need me. Mr. Davis stepped out of the apartment, leaving Anya alone with Clara. Anya took a deep breath and turned to face her former classmate. Clara, Anya said softly. I don't understand why you did this, but I want you to know that I forgive you. Clara looked up, her eyes wide with surprise. You forgive me, she stammered. After everything I've done? Yes, Clara, Anya replied. I forgive you. I know that you're hurting, and I know that you're capable of more than this. I hope that someday, you'll be able to find peace and happiness in your own life. Anya's forgiveness was a surprise to Clara, adding a layer of complexity to the situation. The focus shifted to Anya's feelings about Clara's betrayal. The police were on their way. Clara's face crumpled, tears streaming down her cheeks. I don't deserve your forgiveness, Anya, she sobbed. I've been so awful to you. I've let my jealousy consume me. I know you have, Clara, Anya replied softly. But I believe that everyone is capable of change. I hope that you can use this experience as an opportunity to grow and become a better person. The sound of sirens grew louder in the distance. The police had arrived. Mr. Davis stepped back into the apartment, his expression grave. They're here, Anya, he said. Anya nodded, her heart heavy. She turned to Clara, offering her a small, sad smile. I hope you get the help you need, Clara, she said. The police officers entered the apartment and placed Clara under arrest. As they led her away, Clara looked back at Anya, her eyes filled with remorse. Thank you, Anya, she whispered. Thank you for forgiving me. Anya watched as Clara was taken away, a wave of sadness washing over her. She knew that Clara had a long road ahead of her, but she hoped that she would eventually find redemption. After the police left, Anya and Mr. Davis returned to the gallery. The sight of her slashed paintings filled Anya with a renewed sense of determination. She couldn't let Clara's act of vandalism destroy her dream. "Mr. Davis," Anya said, her voice firm. "I want to reschedule the gallery show. I want to show everyone that I'm not going to let this stop me." Mr. Davis smiled, his eyes filled with pride. "I knew you would say that, Anya," he said. "I'll start making the arrangements right away." But before she could reschedule, Anya had to decide what to do about the damaged paintings. Could they be repaired? Or would she have to start all over again? The paintings had a story to tell. How would she proceed? Anya grapples with her feelings about Clara's betrayal and the damage to her artwork. The question of how to recover remained. Standing amidst the wreckage of her art, Anya felt a profound sense of loss. Each slash, each tear, was a painful reminder of Clara's betrayal and the destruction of her dream. But beneath the sadness, a spark of defiance began to flicker. She wouldn't let Clara win. She wouldn't let her jealousy define her or her art. Anya examined each painting carefully, assessing the damage. Some were beyond repair, the canvases ripped to shreds, the frames splintered beyond recognition. Others, however, had suffered less severe damage, the slashes superficial, the colors still vibrant. As she looked at the damaged paintings, an idea began to form in her mind. What if she didn't try to hide the damage? What if she incorporated it into her art, transforming the act of vandalism into a powerful statement about resilience and forgiveness? She picked up Sunrise on Fifth Avenue, its peaceful pinks and purples now marred by jagged tears. Instead of trying to patch up the tears, she could use them as a starting point, adding new layers of paint, new colors, new textures. She could transform the painting into a symbol of hope, showing that even after being broken, something beautiful could still emerge. She thought about Rainy Day Reflections, its somber beauty defaced by long, angry slashes. Instead of trying to erase the slashes, she could use them to create a sense of movement, of energy, of rebirth. She could add metallic paint to the slashes, making them shimmer and shine, transforming them into symbols of resilience. And what about Grandma's Garden, its loving tribute torn to pieces? Instead of trying to recreate the original painting, she could use the damaged fragments to create a collage, a mosaic of memories, a testament to the enduring power of love. Anya spent hours in the gallery, experimenting with different techniques, trying to find ways to transform the damage into something meaningful. She added new layers of paint, new colors, new textures. She stitched the canvases back together, creating new patterns and designs. She incorporated found objects into her art, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. Slowly but surely, the damaged paintings began to transform. The slashes and tears became integral parts of the artwork, adding depth, texture, and meaning. The act of vandalism became a catalyst for creativity, a challenge to overcome, a story to tell. Anya found new inspiration in the damage. Anya decided to call on her friends for help. She needed extra hands and fresh eyes. The community rallies around Anya. Anya's friends rallied around her, offering their support and expertise. Sarah, a talented seamstress, helped her stitch the torn canvases back together, creating intricate patterns and designs. Mark, a skilled carpenter, repaired the damaged frames, adding new details and embellishments. Emily, a graphic designer, helped her create a new title for the show, Resilience, Colors Reborn. Mr. Davis also played a crucial role, offering his unwavering support and encouragement. He helped Anya source new materials, provided her with extra studio space, and even organized a fundraising campaign to help cover the costs of the repairs. Word of Anya's story spread throughout the community, and people began to offer their assistance. Local artists donated paint and supplies. Volunteers helped clean and organize the gallery. Even strangers offered words of encouragement and support. The gallery became a hub of activity, a place where people came together to help Anya rebuild her dream. The atmosphere was filled with a sense of hope, creativity, and community spirit. As Anya worked alongside her friends and neighbors, she realized that Clara's act of vandalism had inadvertently brought her closer to the people she cared about. It had also given her art a new sense of purpose, a new story to tell. The damaged paintings were no longer just representations of the city, they were symbols of resilience, forgiveness, and the power of community. They were a testament to the fact that even after being broken, something beautiful could still emerge. One afternoon, as Anya was working on Grandma's Garden, she received a visit from Officer Miller. "Ms. Petrova," Officer Miller said, her expression softening. "I just wanted to let you know that Clara has been charged with vandalism and is awaiting trial." Anya nodded, her heart heavy. "Thank you, Officer Miller," she said. "I also wanted to say that I'm impressed by what you're doing," Officer Miller continued. "Turning this act of vandalism into something positive. It's truly inspiring." Anya smiled. "Thank you, Officer Miller," she said. "I'm just trying to make the best of a bad situation." Officer Miller paused, then reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, crumpled piece of paper. "I'm not supposed to do this," she said, "but I wanted to give you this." She handed Anya the paper. It was a drawing of a flower, crudely drawn but filled with heart. Underneath the drawing, there was a single word, "Sorry." Anya looked up at Officer Miller, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," she said. "This means a lot to me." Even those who had been investigating the crime were touched by Anya's strength. The community was touched by Anya's resilience. The rescheduled show was just around the corner. Finally, the day of the rescheduled gallery show arrived. Anya stood in the center of the gallery, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and nerves. The gallery was packed with people, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the spotlights. But this wasn't the same gallery show that Anya had originally planned. The paintings were different, transformed by the act of vandalism and the subsequent restoration. The slashes and tears were still visible, but they had been transformed into symbols of resilience, forgiveness, and the power of community. As people viewed the artwork, they were visibly moved. They marveled at Anya's creativity, her strength, and her ability to turn something negative into something positive. They were inspired by her story, her forgiveness, and her unwavering spirit. Mr. Davis stood proudly by Anya's side, his eyes filled with admiration. "You've done it, Anya," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "You've turned a tragedy into a triumph." Anya smiled, her heart overflowing with gratitude. She looked around at the faces of her friends, her neighbors, and even strangers, all of whom had come to support her. She realized that she wasn't alone. She had a community behind her, a community that believed in her, a community that loved her. During the show, Anya was approached by a woman she didn't recognize. "Ms. Petrova," the woman said, her voice hesitant. "My name is Mrs. Thompson. I'm Clara's mother." Anya's heart skipped a beat. "Mrs. Thompson," she said softly. "It's nice to meet you. I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry for what my daughter did," Mrs. Thompson said, her eyes filled with tears. "She's been struggling for a long time, and I know that what she did was wrong. I just wanted you to know that I'm grateful for your forgiveness." Anya reached out and took Mrs. Thompson's hand. "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson," she said. "I appreciate that. I hope that Clara gets the help she needs." As the evening drew to a close, Anya felt a sense of peace and contentment wash over her. The gallery's show had been a resounding success, not just in terms of sales and recognition, but in terms of personal growth and healing. Anya's show was a success. The show had been a greater success than she could have ever imagined. Anya's talent was finally recognized. In the weeks and months that followed, Anya's career took off. Her story of resilience and forgiveness resonated with people around the world, and her artwork was featured in magazines, newspapers, and online publications. She received invitations to exhibit her work in galleries and museums in other cities, and her paintings began to sell for record prices. But despite her newfound success, Anya never forgot the lessons she had learned from the experience. She remained humble, grateful, and committed to using her art to make a positive impact on the world. She started a foundation to support young artists from disadvantaged backgrounds, providing them with the resources and opportunities they needed to pursue their dreams. She also became an advocate for forgiveness and reconciliation, sharing her story with others and encouraging them to let go of anger and resentment. Anya even reached out to Clara, writing her a letter and offering her support. Clara, who was still undergoing therapy, responded with a heartfelt apology, expressing her remorse for what she had done and her gratitude for Anya's forgiveness. Anya learned that Clara had been released from jail. Anya and Clara even met. Flashback. Anya saw Clara sitting at a table in the corner. She walked over to her, and Clara looked up, her eyes wide with surprise. "Anya," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "What are you doing here?" "I wanted to see you," Anya said softly. "I wanted to see how you were doing." Clara looked down at her hands, her face filled with shame. "I'm doing okay," she said. "I'm still in therapy, but it's helping. I'm trying to make amends for what I did." Anya sat down at the table across from Clara. "I know you are," she said. "And I want you to know that I believe in you. I believe that you're capable of change." Clara looked up at Anya, her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Anya," she said. "That means a lot to me." Anya smiled. "You're welcome, Clara," she said. "I just want you to be happy." Anya stood up to leave. "Goodbye, Clara," she said. "I hope we can stay in touch." "Goodbye, Anya," Clara said. "And thank you again for everything." Anya smiled and walked out of the restaurant, leaving Clara to her thoughts. She knew that Clara had a long road ahead of her, but she hoped that she would eventually find peace and happiness. End flashback. And so, Anya's story came to an end. It was a story of loss, betrayal, and destruction, but it was also a story of resilience, forgiveness, and the transformative power of art. Anya's talent was recognized worldwide. Anya's career took off. Anya often reflected on the events that had led to her success. She realized that she had learned some valuable lessons along the way. First, she had learned the importance of forgiveness. Holding on to anger and resentment would have only poisoned her soul and prevented her from moving forward. By forgiving Clara, she had freed herself from the shackles of bitterness and opened herself up to new possibilities. Second, she had learned the power of resilience. Life is full of challenges and setbacks, but it's how we respond to those challenges that defines us. By refusing to give up, by transforming her damaged paintings into something beautiful, she had shown the world that anything is possible with determination and creativity. Third, she had learned the importance of true friends. Without the support of Mr. Davis, Sarah, Mark, Emily, and the countless others who had rallied around her, she would never have been able to overcome the challenges she had faced. True friends are a gift, and they should be cherished and appreciated. Anya also learned that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. Even after her dreams had been shattered, she had found a way to rebuild them, stronger and more beautiful than before. She realized that even the most painful experiences can be transformed into opportunities for growth and healing. One day, Anya received a letter from a young girl who had been inspired by her story. The girl wrote that she had been bullied at school, and that Anya's story had given her the courage to stand up for herself and to forgive her bullies. Anya smiled, her heart filled with warmth. She realized that her story had the power to change lives, to inspire hope, and to promote forgiveness and understanding. That was the greatest success of all. Anya had learned many lessons. And those lessons were resilience and forgiveness. Anya had many true friends. And as she continued to create art, to share her story, and to support others, Anya knew that she was living a life